I have been going through some stuff, and the best way I can describe it is it's like I got a storm over here, I got a storm over there, I got a storm back here. I don't even know how many storms, to be honest. I've lost count. But they've all sort of merged together into one perfect storm. That's where I'm at right now. Stuff coming at me from all directions, and lots of voices in my head screaming to get the attention. Telling me what to do, telling me what not to do, telling me it's hopeless, telling me you're justified in panicking. My gosh, look at everything coming at you right now. We'll get into some of that here in a minute, but what I want to talk about is, and the video touched on it, is which voices are you listening to? We've got feelings. I don't know about you, but that's kind of a scary one for me to be listening to. My feelings, we've said it before in this group, they can't be trusted. They really can't. Self-doubt, that's a big one. Logic. What do you mean, God? You want me to go here? You want me to do this? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Logic, sometimes, our logic doesn't always match his logic. So, can't really rely on that one all the time either. Fear, I don't even know what we need to say about fear. I think we all know fear will lead us to places we don't want to go, or keep us in places we don't want to stay. Facebook. If you need an opinion, Facebook is like the IKEA of personal opinions, right? I mean, good grief. And I've not done any research on it, but I'm guessing the majority of them are probably not 100% accurate. Your kids, if you're living with a teenage kid especially, you might not want to be listening to them because that might increase your self-doubt. I don't know. Friends. Yeah, sometimes. You know, sometimes God will talk to us through our friends, and that's good. Sometimes we got friends like Job had, you know, and the counsel isn't always that accurate. Sometimes it's just completely off. Our bank account. When Chuck told me that God was telling him to step down from his paid position, our bank account was laughing. You're gonna do what? You're trying to starve me, aren't you? You know. So yeah, I mean, their boss, the past is a big one. Yourself. Sometimes it's all the stuff in us that just starts speaking to us bad advice. And then of course there's the devil. You know, he never sleeps. He's always around. He's always giving his opinion on stuff. If we're listening to any of these, like I said, you know, friends, there's some that, you know, okay, sometimes they do help. But there's only one. There's only one we can truly listen to and trust. Truly trust, because he's got our best interest. And that's the voice of truth. In order to do that, we have to seek his voice. It's not just a matter of praying. Praying is definitely included. Ask God to give you ears to hear. Because sometimes we either think we know what he's going to say, so we're closed off to what he's actually going to say, or we don't know, and we can't even imagine, and we just, you know, we close our ears to it. So ask God to give you ears to hear him. Get in the Word. My gosh, he has written his messages to us, and thank God he did. But get in his Word. Sermons. I've been listening to some of Pastor LaVon's sermons, and I'm loving him. And I remember in one of them, she said, you know, she was talking about building up on your devotional life, your personal, intimate relationship with God. And it involves more sermons than just Sunday. You don't eat on Sunday and say, I'm good for the rest of the week. My gosh, what kind of shape would you be in by Saturday, right? Or for me, Monday, you know. You don't breathe on Sundays and say, I'm good till next Sunday. I mean, these are things we need to survive. We need to hear from God through his shepherds as part of our survival tactic. And he's anointed so many. There are some good sermons out there, you know. And another thing that and I didn't put that in here, but there's small groups. There's so many different things you can do. If you don't make it to one week, that's okay. Make the next one. or find one on another day for that week, whatever you got to do. You want to stay fed, you got to keep the tank full, or you're going to run on it. You're going to run out of gas. Devotionals are good, but they cannot replace the Bible. They should never replace the Bible, and I've been guilty of that lately. We'll talk about that in a minute. Worship. God loves to talk to me through songs, through worship music, through praise music. Sometimes, this morning even, he'll put a song. I'll get this song just replaying, like just a little piece of it, over and over in my mind. And this morning it was, I Know There Will Be a Brighter Day. And sometimes I'm like, man, I can't get this song out of my head. And then sometimes I'm smart enough to go, wait. Oh, I hear you. Sometimes he's talking to us through that. So have ears to hear. Make sure you're listening for him, because he's got all kinds of different ways he'll talk to you. And the other example I gave, there's so many more examples, is journaling. I have been not doing that for years. I would pick it up every maybe few months, if that, and I've started picking it up again because I know I need to get back to the basics. And when I was early in my walk, God brought so much healing to me through journaling. Journaling and the Bible, those were the two big ones. There were other things he talked to me through, but if you're not a journaler, give it a try. Pray to God first, Lord, talk to me through these pages, and then just start writing what's on your heart, what you want to say to him. And don't be surprised if he starts speaking back to you that way. The other thing is listen with no expectations or agenda. God is going to tackle problems in order of his priority, not ours. And his agenda is always better than ours. Always. So, let me give you an example. My agenda, this is over the last, I would say a couple of weeks, it's probably been a little bit longer than that actually. These are the things that I'm assuming, okay, I'm going back to the Word, I'm going back into my one-on-one prayer time with God. I know he's going to help me with one or more of these things. We're going to hit these things. This is my agenda. My job, it's a mess right now. It is an absolute mess. Big source of stress for me right now. My mom's health. I got a call yesterday, right after I finished putting all this together, that he'd been sharing with me over the last week or so, that she's taken another turn in the wrong direction, the direction we don't want her going in, we got a family mess at home right now. Chuck and I are fine. But every family gets hit with some stuff, and we've been hit with some stuff. My health is a mess. I've been waking up with migraines just about every day. I've had a couple, maybe 3 days relief where I didn't wake up with one, but it's been constant. And now I'm having to go back to the insurance company to beg them to cover my monthly shot, because when I get the monthly shot, I get 1 or 2 migraines a month. I'm getting them every day right now without that thing. So, is there something else I can be taking, whatever, but I don't have time, I don't have energy, I don't have the emotional and mental strength to fight with my insurance company right now. So, and these are just a few things. These are the ones that I listed just off the top of my head, and when I was sitting down, there's other stuff too. It's too much. And I know we've all had that, and some of you are probably having that right now, where it's just too much. But here's God's agenda. This is what he's working on me, or with me on. I'm feeling overwhelmed and about to break, because I'm trying to withstand this perfect storm in my own strength, in my own ability. And how far is that going to get me? About as far as eating once a week. It's just not going to work. It's not feasible. I don't have the strength to do this. But like that video said, my attention is on the storm, which is understandable. We're human. We got stuff coming at us. We're looking at it. We see it. How do you take your eyes off of that? You got to put your eyes back on him. And that's what he's been teaching me. So here's what God is telling me. 1, draw near to him and listen to him. When I said earlier I'm going back to basics, that's what I'm talking about. I told Chuck, this is not a new message. God's been telling me this for a while now. And I'm like, you know what, God, you're right. I need to start doing this. I need to get back to doing that. Yeah, I need to do that. I'm making all kinds of plans and intentions, But lo and behold, that storm started growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And now I'm like, okay, maybe I need to quit talking about it and start doing something about it. So he's been giving me verse after verse after verse this week. Just, here's your solution to this problem. And it's never the problems I think we need to address. Like I said, he's got his agenda. So this feeling overwhelmed, this feeling like I can't do this, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I am not going to hear his voice if I'm not listening for it. So I'm drawing near to him. I'm listening to him. And I'm going to follow him. That's been my goal since I became a Christian. I want to follow him. I thought I was doing pretty good. You know, I'm praying throughout the day. You know, giving praise, asking for help, interceding, you know, all that stuff, and that's good. And I'm reading my devotionals every day. But I'm not getting in the Word. You know, I'm getting what he's saying through other people, but I'm not hearing from him directly. So I'm getting back in the Word. And lo and behold, he gave me all this. So I'm finding the strength. Not in me, but in him. And that's where we get it from. Second thing, remain in him. Not just in the storms, but all the time. When I was new in my faith, new in my walk with the Lord, I had such a healthy devotional life. My relationship with him, my one-on-one relationship with him was so strong. I mean, nothing could break it. And I'm not saying that anything could break it now, but it didn't matter what hit me back then. I could take it. I could take it. Because I knew I wasn't alone. Whatever comes, he's going to carry me through it. But if I'm not doing this all the time, only when the storms hit, I'm not getting his all. I'm not getting his best, which means I'm not giving him my all, my best. 2 Timothy 4:2. Preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season. Reprove, rebuke, and exhort with complete patience and teaching. If I'm not in the Word, if I'm not drawing near to him and remaining in him, I'm not doing any of those things. And I'm certainly not going to be ready in season and out of season. Perfect example. Chuck told me earlier this week, God's put it on my heart that you're up this week. I'm like, okay, first of all, I haven't been up in a while, so I'm out of practice, you know. Second of all, are you serious? With everything going on with me right now, you want me to stop and put something together and, you know, and do all that? And I'm thinking, but I didn't argue. I'm like, if that's what God's telling you, I'm going to be obedient to that. Okay, fine. And I started praying, Lord, what do you want me to talk about? You know, he's like, talk about what I've been telling you. Oh, okay, duh. But here's the cool thing, the way God works. Chuck got a call this morning. Chuck, you got a sermon on deck? We need you to preach this morning. So God was ahead of us. It wasn't just that he wanted to share with you what he's been sharing with me. He knew Chuck was not going to be in here. Yeah. Chuck's going to be out there getting ready to give a sermon last minute. But he's ready. Chuck's ready in and out of season because he's been remaining in the Lord. He's been abiding in his word. That's how that works. We're ready when God calls us. The worst storm we can face is a storm we aren't prepared for. When you know a storm is coming, you can get ready for it. You know? How often in life do we see the storm coming? Not very often. It's kind of a rare thing. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. And that's from Ephesians. It's not just putting on the whole armor. When you are in the Word regularly, not just reading it, study it too. Take your time. Don't try to go through a checklist and get as many check marks on that. Oh, I read Ephesians, I read Acts, or, you know, that's not what it's about. It's not about a to-do or a chore that makes God happy. It's about growing in your relationship with him. It's about going deeper in your knowledge of him. It's about putting on the whole armor, but it's also about knowing how to use it. I'm not going to be much help carrying a sword around if I don't know how to use it. That's where we learn how to use everything on that battleground, and we're on a battleground. We absolutely are. 4, God did not create you to be a victim. Now that is something, I've been through many layers of healing since I started walking with the Lord. Most of my issues, adult issues, wounds, whatever, were acquired when I was a child. I was adopted, which is a blessing. I love my family. I'm very fortunate and blessed to have been adopted. I never had to spend a moment in an orphanage or a foster system or anything like that. I was very blessed. God protected me, and he just blessed me from the beginning. But at the same time, why was I adopted? You know, when I found out as a kid, I couldn't help but think, why did my mom not want me? Why did my parents not want me? You know, I didn't understand. You know, now as an adult, most people aren't placed for adoption because they were conceived under ideal circumstances. Okay, so maybe it wasn't ideal circumstances. Maybe they wanted to keep me, but they couldn't. I don't know. What I do know is I'm a child of God. I'm his child. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. The other thing that, you know, that didn't necessarily make me feel like a victim, but I was molested as a child. That definitely made me feel like a victim. And you put the two together, and the devil just had a field day with that. And my own self-doubt, my own low self-esteem. It was just a perfect storm of victim mentality. So I identify as a victim. I have almost my whole life. I developed that victim mentality at a very young age. And my defense mechanism has always been put up the white flag. Okay, fine. I give up. You're right. You win. Whatever. You know, I'm not doing a good enough job. Okay, you're right. I'll do better. You know, because that meant no confrontation. Confrontation is a big, almost a phobia of mine. I will do just about anything than deal with a confrontation. I don't like it. It makes me feel like a victim, and it ends the conflict quickly. Okay, sure, you're right. Okay. But that's not who God created me to be, or you. The other thing that he's been telling me, and this one he's been speaking pretty loud and clear, if I draw near to him and listen to him, I'm not just going to survive the storm. Like the video said, he'll take you through it. But what he's telling me is I'm going to come out of it stronger. Like we talk about failing forward. I'm going to come out of it stronger. I'm going to come out of it changed. He's been changing me. Since the day, I don't say since the day the Lord saved me, he tackled me. I don't know how else to describe it. I was running from him, and he was hot on my heels. And when I decided I'm going to stop running from him, it's like we just collided. It's like he tackled me, you know. And he's been changing me ever since. And I think that I'm going to come out of this changed. And in ways that I'm getting more, I don't want to say confrontational. I'm not so scared of confrontation. Now I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of feeling like the victim. I don't care what the situation is. I'm not going to cower down anymore. I am a daughter of the King. I have power. I have his Holy Spirit living in me. I have his power living in me. What am I afraid of? There is nothing that can defeat him. And he's got my back. Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance. And endurance produces character. Character produces... What is character? It's who we are. When we're enduring the suffering, he's producing character. Oh my goodness, there was a quote in there I meant to put in there, and I apologize for not putting it in there. I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to try it anyway. Oswald Chambers. I'm going to paraphrase it, because if I try to do it exact, I will kill it. Sometimes God doesn't put us through something or allow us to go through a circumstance because he's trying to teach us something. Sometimes it's because he's trying to make us something. And that's what he's been doing. That's what he's been telling me. You're not going to be the same after this. And that's good news. Because I've been a wimp. I've been a coward. And that is not the kind of Christian God wants me to be. Not at all. Stand up for yourself. Stand up or stand on God's promises. That's the other thing he's telling me. It's not an arrogant thing to defend yourself. It's not pride to stand up for yourself when someone's coming at you with lies, with maliciousness. When you're being attacked in some way, in any way, defend yourself. No weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed, and you shall refute every tongue that rises against you in judgment. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their vindication from me, declares the Lord. That's straight from his mouth. The heritage of the servants. We are the servants. And he's not gonna just stand there and make us take it. But sometimes we gotta stand up and do our part. If we're wearing the full armor of God, we've got the shield, we've got the helmet, we've got the breastplate, we've got all of our defensive things. And sometimes we get to swing back, as Chuck says, with that sword of truth. And that's what he expects us to do. He wants us to live an abundant life now, not when we go home. I mean, yes, when we go home, but you know what I mean, both. But whoever listens to me will dwell secure and will be at ease without dread of disaster. When you're in a perfect storm, anxiety can take over without you even realizing it's been creeping up on you. Without dread of disaster. I would love to be at ease. And I'm feeling more and more at ease the more I'm going to him and the more he's talking to me. With the things going on with my mom, and I don't want to get into details because she's a very private person and I want to respect that, but I've been able through this situation to not just share with my daughter, but she is sharing with me things that she's seeing. She's seeing God's hand in this. And I can't tell you how much that thrills me. And just myself, seeing God's hand in this. You know, it's just that reminder. He loves my mom more than I do. So no matter what her situation, whether it takes a turn for the worse, if it starts getting better, whatever, he's in control. And he's been showing me this. Like I said, I got that phone call yesterday. It was bad news, and I'm just like, I can't take any more bad news. I even snapped at Chuck at one point, and then I had to apologize. And I don't like it when I got to apologize to my husband because I want to be that good wife that's always lifting him up and, you know, encouraging and all that. But sometimes my feelings get in the way, and especially when I'm in a storm. But dwell secure and be at ease. Isn't that what we look for in life? Aren't we constantly looking for ways to make life easier, more comfortable, to be at ease? And if you're an anxious person, like I tend to be sometimes, that dread of disaster, that'll consume you. But all we gotta do is listen to him. It's that